The opinions expressed on this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cable 14, its sponsors, or its shareholders, Cogeco Cable, Shaw Cable, and Source Cable Limited.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Culture by the Minute here on Cable 14. My name's Jeremy Freiburger, and I am the host for the show. I'm also the cultural strategist for Cobalt Connects, a local arts service organization. It's been a busy couple of weeks since our last episode for Cobalt Connects. We've been off in another community called Huron-Kinloss working on their cultural action plan. They're a little rural community sort of northeast of us here, or northwest of us. And we're going to give away a little prize to start off this week's show. While we were up there, we're meeting with all sorts of interesting people, and sort of maybe in honor of Russell being here today, we're giving away some organic honey, some locally produced flour, some cheese curds, a whole mess of interesting products and produce from up around here on Kinloss. So right now, live, we're going to draw a name out of this hard hat and see who our winner is. So we had a little online contest, and the winner is Cindy Engel, who shared her love of a Gorilla Cheese food truck here in town. Cindy, you're the winner of our Huron-Kinloss prize pack. We'll get a hold of you shortly to figure out how to get you your little prize pack. So, start off with a prize. This week's show, every week, you know, we focus the show on something different, another element of the cultural or creative industries here in Hamilton. This week, we're focused on graphic design, and we always give you the NAICS code for that industry. So, NAICS code 541430. That's graphic design and specialized services, part of the creative industries pile here in Hamilton. And this show's really kicking off about a week or two of interesting graphical content from Cobalt Connects. We're doing this show, obviously, talking to a few graphic designers from here in Hamilton and from the region. We're also launching an event with RGD. You'll hear a little bit more about who RGD is later on the show. Tomorrow night down at the Chamber of Commerce in partnership with the Hive Group for Designers, the City of Hamilton, and the Chamber, sort of a networking night for the local graphic design world. And we're also going to start a blog series on our website called Let's Get Graphic, where we've invited a series of local designers to talk about design-related issues in Hamilton. So you can check out our website, cobaltconnects.ca, for that. Throughout the next couple of weeks, we'll be adding posts every few days, I think, to that, and keeping you up to date on what's going on in the world of graphic design. But today, we've got a couple of Hamilton's greatest graphic design folks and firms in the room. So we've got Ryan Moran, who's here from Factory Design Initiative and also from the Hive for Designers Group. Well, welcome to the show, Ryan.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And we've got Russell Gibbs from Russell Gibbs Design, but he's also a member of the board for RGD. So Russell, thanks for coming on in today.
Thank you.
So Russell, I wanted to start with you. I wanted to get a better sense of what is Russell Gibbs Design, what do you specialize in, and really how did the firm get started?
Okay, so I'm Russell Gibbs, and I own Russell Gibbs Design, which is a full-service design studio. Our emphasis or our focus is on brand and visual communication, basically. Anything from strategy right through to product launch.
Awesome. And Ryan, you're with Factory Design Initiative. I know you've been with them for maybe a year or so now, but that they've been around for quite a while and worked on a really wide range of projects. Tell us a little bit about Factory and what you guys are working on right now.
So Factory is a full-service marketing studio, creative studio. Full name is Factory Design Initiative. And it really focuses on everything from graphic design to web design to tech development, website development, research in terms of markets and what a strategy might be. But yeah, definitely, I mean, it's been around for about approximately 13 years now, and the CEO, Tyler Cowie, is a graphic designer and an artist himself, and we employ a number of other graphic designers as well, too, from generally all from the local community as well.
Fantastic. Both of you, as much as you're with individual firms yourselves, you are each wearing multiple hats today. So Ryan's come to us on behalf of the Hive Group for Graphic Designers, and Russell, a member of the board of directors for RGD. Russell, can you tell us a little bit about RGD, who it is, and what their role is in the sort of the larger graphic design community in Ontario?
Yep, so the RGD is the hub of graphic designers throughout Ontario. What we do is we put on programs, services, basically things like webinars, mentorship programs, continuing education for the design community. We're also, the key to best practices within the industry, and we also hold a national conference called Design Thinkers every year. This year it's November 8th and 9th in Toronto. You can learn more at rgdontario.com.
And sorry, what does RGD stand for those
Registered Graphic Designers of Ontario.
Awesome. And you're part of the event tomorrow, obviously, spearheaded by Hillary and gang.
Yeah.
Is this RGD's sort of first step into Hamilton? Have they been around in this community before? Or?
It is. This is our first step into Hamilton. It's very exciting. I think there's a lot of opportunity here in Hamilton, and I'm happy to be a part of it.
Absolutely. There's definitely a growing scene around graphic design in Hamilton, and I think Hive, that Ryan is from, obviously having its own little splinter group for graphic designers is a good sort of example of that. Ryan, tell us a bit more about the Hive group for graphic designers and what a member might expect from a group like that.
Sure. Actually, there still currently isn't a group like that, but that is one that we would really like to look at establishing within the city. And I know there are discussions that are taking place among a number of different people to begin to look at that. And from the broader kind of more high-level perspective, I mean, Hamilton Hive being an umbrella group for young professionals and different groups of young professionals from different industries in the city, one that we've really recognized is obviously creative industries and the individual industries within that. So though we do have Click, for example, currently that operates out of the Art Gallery of Hamilton, and they represent a really kind of creative cultural base, we'd really like to also look at beginning to diversify the groups that exist so that there is that sort of aggregate personality of creative industries, but then also you can look at the individual industries themselves and the people that do exist. So to that extent, there's that discussion going on among graphic designers in the community to collaborate on their own group as well.
Nice. That whole idea of graphic designers being part of a broader conversation and a growing conversation in this community is definitely something I've sort of been watching over the last couple of years as graphic designers, architects, people of that world have sort of started to step out of just the confines of their firm and started playing a role in community development in a bigger way. And both of you definitely represent that conversation in a good way. And that, Russell, your increasing fame around your recent T-shirt design, but also that I think you're a part-time beekeeper as well.
Yeah.
And Factory getting definitely known for its role in stepping into some of the urban development conversation with Adrian from your firm playing a big role in a lot of online forums and conversations. Throw this one maybe back to Ryan first. What role do you think graphic designers should be playing in that broader community conversation, and how do the skills of whether it's graphic designers or other creative workers sort of play a role in that?
Right. Well, I think there are two components to that. So just broadly first, before I speak specifically about Factory, it's the idea that graphic design can be a lot about problem solving and visioning. And that's one of the important parts, obviously, when making design for any client or any specific job. But in terms of its role in the community, as you said, Adrian is very involved in Raise the Hammer and other local media sources. So he's also very interested in certain discussions such as two-way streets. So writing on two-way streets for Raise the Hammer, he also engaged one of our graphic designers, Chelsea Robinson, to basically look at developing a design of what Main Street would look like looking west from Queen if it were two-way. So you have both that aspect of engaging in a certain conversation, of challenging and critically assessing something. Then you have also the aspect of problem solving, of visioning what a specific challenge could look like if you were able to resolve that issue.
And I think it's key too that, like, when Factory was engaging the rest of the firm in that conversation, the graphic designer's unique ability to put a picture in front of the public and say, this is what we're talking about, this is what change could look like or something. All too often we see people communicating those things really poorly on blogs and whatnot and social media, and the ability to put a picture to that story.
Exactly.
It's kind of key. So Russell, talk to me about You Can Do Anything in Hamilton, how you stepped out of the four walls of your firm and started throwing that brand around.
Well, You Can Do Anything in Hamilton came about, pretty much by me moving here and discovering that I can do anything in Hamilton. And it was quite literally a conversation that was had with friends. I said that, and one of my friends said, "Well, you should make a T-shirt, and I'll sell it in my store." And I thought, you know what, this is kind of a cool idea, and maybe I should. For every time that's been mentioned, I don't know. It happens to me a lot where somebody's like, "Oh, put that on a T-shirt." But I actually went ahead and did it, and you know, it had much of a broader stroke at first. It was a fully planned campaign, art installation and things. You know, certain things didn't happen, but I decided to sort of forge ahead and create the T-shirts and tote bags, and you know, it's been great ever since. It's something that really took off where I didn't, you know how big it was going to get, but it's really gaining steam.
And can you quantify that in any way? How big has it gotten?
Well, you know, I think I'm in my 10th print run. Wow. Of, you know, the McMaster University is, they licensed it for their 125th anniversary this year. It's carried and stocked fully in the Tourism Hamilton store. The Moksha Yoga in Hamilton carries the T-shirts. And White Elephant carries the tote bags. Like, they're, you know, it's all over the place. Yeah. And it's just this crazy thing that I did on a whim and put it out on Twitter and sold the first run of T-shirts, and then, you know, it sort of snowballed from there.
And for, I guess maybe back to both of you deal in the world of branding and communicating on behalf of someone else sometimes. How often is the sort of the kernel of the idea that leads to a brand or a fully executed campaign start with something as simple as a conversation, but your design thinking skills enable you to turn that into something that you can actually execute? Throw that back to either of you. Whoever's willing to jump on it.
I could take it first. I think, I know from our perspective, we often consider the idea first and the big idea, and being able to put something into words and then translating those words into what is that idea graphically. So the conversation and the discussion of the idea is resoundingly important to actually designing and expressing something visually, or however it will be expressed graphically.
Yeah, and I think, you know, sometimes it happens a little bit, you know, more organically. Sometimes you need to sort of plan around it a bit, and you know, generally, I love it when it happens organically and it just seems like a natural flow, and things really, you know, gel and come together quite easily. But, you know, it's not always like that with for clients or certain things. But yeah, it's great when you can do it right from the idea and follow it right through to the graphic end.
Nice. We're going to take a quick little break and jump to our snapshot with Amber Edgar, who is a graphic designer with her own little firm, Citizen A, based out of the studios at Hotel Hamilton. So we'll jump to that clip now. Here we are at the studios at Hotel Hamilton in the office and studio of Citizen A with Amber Edgar. Amber, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Jeremy.
This episode is really focused on graphic design, so we were really excited that Amber was willing to come on. Amber, tell me a little bit about Citizen A, how it started, and what brought you into the world of graphic design.
That's a great question. Well, I guess I started out doing kind of freelance photography. Actually, my background is as a musician. I'm a singer-songwriter. So, yeah, I guess I just got really inspired by all the music artwork out there to kind of do my own thing, and kind of took the plunge a couple years ago and started a studio down here in James North.
Nice.
Yeah.
A lot of people have this conversation around graphic design about whether it's an art form or is it something else. Your thoughts around whether graphic design is an art or is it something else?
Ooh, I don't want to open a can of worms or anything, but yeah, it's a little bit of a slippery slope there. With it is like a service industry. I think, you know, with the marriage of like advertising meeting artwork. So you know, you do get a lot of creatives in the field. For me, I have to almost consider like my music is my art, and then graphic design is more of my technician role, if you will, you know,
sure,
to serve my clients and to, you know, get them the graphics and the products that they need to run their businesses. So it's a different mindset for me.
Neat. I know a lot of printmakers that sort of approach it in that same way of sometimes they're an artist, sometimes they're a technician for someone else's art. So that's a neat sort of connection there. You mentioned your connection to the music industry, a lot of your works with other musicians. Talk to us about your connection to the music industry and how that's obviously influenced your business.
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, being a musician myself, I know a lot of bands. A lot of my good friends are bands and musicians. So yeah, I get a lot of referrals that way, and they see the work I do, and word gets around. So do a lot of show posters. Sometimes it's my own show that I'm promoting, but yeah, and also I do like disc manufacturing brokeraging through my business. So it's really convenient when like bands or musicians come to me and they're like, they need a CD cover designed, and I'm like, okay, cool guys, like, do you need discs too? So I can do that, and it's just a really simple process for them.
And you've shifted into the world of doing some video work as well. How does that connect?
Here and there. It's I won't say that Citizen A really advertise that advertises that service formally, but it's something we're exploring.
Excellent. Exploring's always good.
Yeah.
Whenever we're talking about employment, whether it's in the arts or in any other sector, we often talk about, is there some sort of a divide between men and women and how they're treated differently, are they paid differently, any of that fun stuff. Your thoughts on being a woman in graphic design?
Ooh, another can of worms maybe, but no, I personally, I don't know if I'm really qualified to make an academic or even a guess at statistics or anything. I do have, inspirations in other design firms, like in Seattle, are run by guys, Invisible Creature, but then there's like Emmy Story out in Montreal. She's a woman running her own firm, so I don't know, I'm here, so hopefully as things progress, there's more women representing in, the design industry. I know the things are taking that turn with music and recording and things, so hopefully the same thing will happen in design.
Excellent. One last question.
Yeah.
If there was something you could change about the world of arts creativity in Hamilton to sort of bring graphic design to the forefront in any way, what might it be? What kind of project would you love to see launched? What kind of work would you love to see come the way of Citizen A?
Probably, I don't know if my business becomes the creative empire that I hope for. Kind of doing some sort of design festival and kind of marrying some of the, music with specifically like design. I mean, there's already the art crawls and things, but just maybe something a little more small scale and more specialized or something at some point. But I don't know. I just can't say enough about, how supportive James Street North has been of my business, and just kind of more of the same, really. It's just a great place to operate, and I'm super stoked to be here.
Sounds good. What a perfect way to end it. There you go. There's our snapshot with Amber Edgar of Citizen A. There we go. So that's Amber Edgar of Citizen A. And guys, just jumping off something that we touched on with Amber, the idea of graphic design and whether it's considered an art or not. It's typically not included in a lot of granting bodies' definition of art. It's not included in the city's Arts Awards program. Where do you stand on whether graphic design is an art or not, and is it being represented like the other creative fields are? Does it need a voice in this community like we see with theater or visual art or the arts in general?
I think I'll go. I think it definitely is an art, and I think like a lot of non-traditional art forms, there is a sort of grudging acceptance of it from the salon, but it is certainly an art, and I think you see a lot of that blurring and increasingly being recognized. I know the MoMA and a number of large galleries currently employ design curators, but even historically, I mean, you look at art in the history of art, some of the renowned late 19th century French artist Toulouse-Lautrec, for example, was designing posters. He's now considered an artist. At the time, maybe he might not have been. Everything even down to maybe more contemporary art. Rothko's temple in Texas. Yes, Rothko himself was an artist, but the entire temple he did design to evoke a specific emotion, and it is that sort of practical application of design, looking for an immediate action or response from entering his temple that is that aspect of the immediate reaction caused through graphic design or prompted by.
Your thoughts, Russell?
Yeah, I agree. It's definitely an art form, and to me, it's one of those things that it's so hard to quantify, and that's what makes it in this sort of gray area. That's why some people disclude it, and it really is an art form, though. From any, I think a lot of the time it's viewed as commercial art. A lot of it's collaborative, which I think is that doesn't lose the artistic side of it. It's still very important, and even from the most basic relationships with your clients, a lot of it's based on respect. And so much of it is in my business for it's collaboration, right? And you're creating this, artistic piece, whatever it is, whether it's a visual communication, it could be a brand, brochure, anything. It's a piece of art to me.
And do you feel that maybe that conversation, a lot of people discount graphic design out of the arts because there's that client relationship that you don't necessarily have the freedom? Does that change as you mature as a firm or as an individual, and that clients are actually coming to you and giving you that freedom?
I think so. That's the sweet spot, right? Like that you think of where you'd like to be, and it's that you would like people to respect your work and come to you and hire you out for that and seek you out for that sort of relationship.
Mm-hmm. Final question, guys, or likely our final question, depends how long it takes you to answer. The graphic design world, we see, I think, basically every college and university churning out graphic design graduates, whether it's McMaster and Mohawk or whether it's OCAD and Sheridan, even mountains of online courses. I'm sure it's one of the ones listed in the back of a pack of matches still. Are we churning out too many graphic designers? Are graphic design graduates being prepared for the world of what it means to actually work in the world of graphic design? I'll throw that over to you, Russell, as someone that's running your own firm. Did you feel like you were ready when you graduated, or what were the stages you went through to get to the point where you're running your own firm?
What I feel like is that there's a point where school ends and your career begins, and for some people that is a natural progression and it's an easy step. For some people it's night and day. I went from school to doing an internship, getting hired at that internship, to then working there for 2 years, and then going from studio to studio, basically, not in a bad way, in Toronto. But I think that you can only take school for design for a certain amount of time, because there's the hard things to teach are things like interacting with clients and reading clients and trying to really take a project from when they give it to you as a brief to taking it to a creative execution. There's a big learning curve, and there's a lot of experience that goes into creating that final thing. Mm-hmm. I think it's a bit of a slippery slope, though, when we're oversaturating the market, because even back 12 years ago when I graduated, there were a ton of designers on the market, but ultimately, I can come up against a job interview with somebody who has little to no schooling, or somebody who has their master's degree. That's another thing that's sort of a hot topic in the design industry right now, is whether people are graduating from universities or colleges and they have a degree in design. The way that I would look at it as somebody that's hiring is I'm obviously looking at your personality, and I'm looking at your book. You can have all the design credentials in the world, but your work might not be that great. And it's one of those really interesting careers where amazing things can happen with little to no training whatsoever. That sort of, to me, goes back to the idea that it is an art.
That it's an art. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Ryan, if we've got about 30 seconds, if we could put one civic project in the hands of Factory right now, what would it be? What would you want to put your design brains around?
Oh man, in Hamilton, a lot. I really liked the direction we were taking with the two-way streets, and I think that's something that when it comes to design and prompting an action, prompting response, creating that vision that actually people can get behind and that people can imagine and have right before them, it goes a long way towards a certain cause or a certain initiative, basically towards civic development. So having that there is kind of can be a driving factor for pushing towards a certain goal.
Excellent. Thanks for coming in, guys. Thank you so much. We're going to throw to our events board. We've got a couple of upcoming events over the next week or so that we're going to do a little promotion of. So what do we got? We've got the 1812 Songbook, which is going on at the Lyric Theatre here in Hamilton, October 18th to the 20th. You can get more information at lyrichamilton.ca. We've got, obviously, our event coming up tomorrow, the Hamilton Graphic Designers networking event in association with Hive and RGD. That's tomorrow night, 5:30 to 7:30 at the Chamber of Commerce boardroom, which is right in Yale Properties, right in Jackson Square. And we've got the Hamilton Zombie Walk After Party, a great couple of bands, Jumble and the return of Poison Arrows, a long-time Hamilton band. That's on October 27th down at This Ain't Hollywood. You can get more info at thisainthollywood.ca. So that is wrapping up our show for today, folks. Engage. There's a mountain of creative talent, graphic design talent here in Hamilton, whether it's individuals or big firms. They don't just make you look pretty, they make you look smart. They help you communicate great ideas, and we encourage you. So hop on our website, cobaltconnects.ca. Check out the folks in the directory. If you're a graphic designer, add yourself to the directory. And that's about it, folks. Have a good week, and we'll be back in 2 weeks with another episode of Culture by the Minute.